Alrighty. Where we go next? Titans?
Manly.
All right. Manly. Where in the fuck is Manly? All right, talk about the draw.
Northern Beaches somewhere, apparently.
Fucking real comedians around here. Go on. Talk about the draw.
No, I don't want to.
Where are they? Oh, here
Where are they?
Okay.
You found them?
Okay. Do you want me to talk about the draw? You're right.
No. Manly only have 3 games against the bottom 3, so they obviously only play the bottom 3 once, which is a bit of a disadvantage there for them, obviously. 6 out of 8 games against the top 8, so it's looking more like on the harder side of the draw than it is the other way. Pretty sure they're one of the only teams that doesn't have a 5-day turnaround, which is an advantage, I suppose. But
Yeah, I think Canterbury's the only other one.
Yeah, them and the Dogs are the only 2 that don't have a 5-day turnaround. But these days, that doesn't seem to make a huge impression on things unless you're going from a tough game into a tough game.
Or travelling.
Like top 4.
Or you're going from Townsville to Melbourne or something. Yeah. They play the Raiders twice, Titans twice, Eels twice, Panthers, Rabbitohs, Dragons, Roosters, Warriors. They also give up a home game to Brisbane in Magic Round. So traditional Brisbane, whatever that means.
Standard.
Yeah. Luke Brooks is in. We know that. They've signed Luke Brooks, Bailey Hodgson, Asatasi James, Jackson Paulo, Tommy Talau, Corey Waddell, and Brandon Wakeham is on a train and trial. I believe that Nathan Brown has since been upgraded since Tuipulotu went to the Dragons.
Okay.
The Fainu brothers went to the Tigers. Harper, Kepi, Tuolangi, and KO Weeks have all gone. They've also lost Shane Flanagan, because which is interesting because I thought Seabold had some great coaching moments last year. I thought he was very clever in the, and I thought he overperformed. But how much of that is Shane Flanagan? How much isn't or anyone else? Is up for debate, I suppose.
Overperformed to get the 12th.
I thought he coached very smartly in some games.
Okay.
And that's a good question. Like the game, well, more so, like, literally the game against Penrith, I thought it was fantastic. The way Manly approached it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's a few other moments like that. Now, at their best, Travojevic is fullback. Saab, Parker, Garrick, Cooler, back 5. Fast, strong. Brooks, DCE, Paseka, Croker, Sipley, Schuster on an edge, against my better judgment. Olakau'atu, Jake at 13, obviously can play in the middle. We've got Lawton, Woods, Madison, Dean Madison on the bench, and Corey Waddell, who apparently is training the house down. What do we say about Manly this year?
I'd like to know who's not training the house down.
Everyone trains the house.
This time of year.
And everyone's strong. And
absolutely.
It's about 10 per team.
Yep.
We saw their defensive struggles last year. I'm not sure it changes that much with the outside backs, to be honest. There was times where there was just gaps everywhere once the ball got outside the ruck, and they just got torn to pieces by quite a few teams, realistically, out on the edges. And their defence and their middle at times wasn't much better.
Yeah.
Like they were generally pretty strong for the first half an hour, and then their middles got tired, and they seemed to have a very tough time controlling the opposition forward packs as well through the middle of the field. Did well enough. I think DCE was one of the main reasons that if you were going to say they overperformed, it was because of that bloke.
Yeah.
Because he got them out of shit so many times where their forwards were just getting beaten up and he'd kick the ball 60, 70 metres downfield.
Whether it's because I'm conscious of it or whether it's just, he's just fantastic, DC. If he's not in that team, they go close to running last.
Yeah.
Simple.
Probably the best long kicking game in the competition. Like
best back foot halfback in the competition.
He gets that. How many 40-20s he hit at exactly the right time. They had Croker jumping out of dummy half, doing it a couple of times as well. The ability to change, your forward pack getting steamrolled to being pushing them down the other end of the field and being able to apply defensive pressure is a massive thing, and he did it terrifically last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was massive for them. Obviously, the spine's the big issue. They need Tommy fit for 20 games of the year, and they're top 4. if he's not, they could be 14th, 15th. Like, seriously, he makes such a big difference to this team in the way that they set up in their attack. The way that basically as soon as there's any sort of disconnect in the defence out wide for the Manly side, it's Tommy chiming in and picking the right place to run. And if he's not running, he's setting it up for somebody else. And they generally score points once as soon as they're able to get the defence on the back foot out wide, they're generally able to pick them apart when Tommy's there. When he's not, it's a 50-50 proposition at best.
I think this year the blowtorch has to go onto the forward pack because you look at that back seven, they're all fast. Like they're all fast, they're all strong, they're all tackle break because Hank Scorpio's a nice fella. But he's not as fast as the others. But
6 of 7. Yes.
But he's good.
Continue.
No, but he does well. And they're all great support players. Saab, you throw Luke Brooks in here as one of the best supporting halves given the opportunity and one of the quickest. DCE's up there with Cleary for the best supporting half in the comp.
You're not scared to take a whack either for a bloke.
No.
You know.
So there should be points. There should be... I really, really want to be bullish about Manly, but then you think about, like you said, the games that get steamrolled. You have a game where Paseka looks like Adam Fanua-Blake, and then the next week you don't see him at all. Or you have Sipley do the same thing. Again, don't want to sound super negative. I can see a world where Josh Schuster's not at Manly by the end of the year. He's on 800K. He's now going to have to go into and they're going to pick him in the back row because he's on that money. You got to work your ass off to be there. And I hope he does. I hope he's fit. You hear how fit he is all the time. When you got blokes like the likes of Dean Madison and some other back rowers, Ben Travojevic, I can see them jumping ahead, which then all of a sudden I don't think he's a 14 because you got Carl Lawton, who did a pretty good job at times last year. Yeah, I think that's a concern. Olakau'atu, great, he can put a hit on, he can break tackles, but he went, as soon as Origin hit last year and he wasn't picked, you didn't see him for the rest of the year. Just at his best match winner, at his, he's just another one in that sort of Sipley bracket that you go, well, why isn't he better? But he's on a 10-year contract, we'll see how it comes. Get from Jake, and there's every chance he just plays as a prop role and they try and find another. Maybe Schuster ends up at 13. I don't know. So that's the concern, and I think, as I said, I'm sort of the opinion that some of these forward packs are going to just bully teams out of games, and that's the concern with Manly. That all being said, I want to be positive, and I want to say I think they have a good year this year. What about yourselves?
No, I agree with a whole heap of what you've said there. A huge attacking upside if they get it right. Pace, size, footwork with the outside backs. Tommy and DCE chiming in only spells points if they get it right. The biggest concern for mine is that bench rotation. The likes of Paseka, Sipley and Jake Trbojevic will hold their own against a lot of packs, but when you start injecting the likes of your Bully Moores and who else, Ben Trbojevic and Jake Arthur, I'm not sure that sort of strengthens your middle all that much, depending on what kind of changes that you're making there. And I don't know if there's a lot of forward depth in behind those guys either. So
I like Gordon Chang Kumtong. I think he was. I think he'll be something eventually.
He did look fantastic.
So maybe that rotation comes about. But then you got
Croker had the year of his life, so it makes it hard to and he was playing 80 minutes pretty much every week as well.
I've just realised. You throw Nathan Brown in at 13 and Matt Lodge. That helps.
Absolutely, it does.
So all of a sudden you put those two in. They're both big ins. Big ins actually.
So obviously, including those two, that does strengthen it a hell of a lot more, and obviously probably pushes them up a couple of spots in my prediction of the ladder. I still think that they're going to be grasping at the bottom of the 8 come the end of the year, just through a few deficiencies in defence mainly. But some of their outside backs aren't the best readers of defence, and through the middle at times they just got walked over by some teams last year, and looking at that, I don't think much has changed to see it go the other way. Sipley's a big in. He was out injured for a big part of last year and was fantastic when he returned. But to
be honest, all of a sudden, if you drop Woods and Waddell out for Brown and Lodge, it looks much better.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
But then again, you're one injury away from having those blokes back in there. So
yeah. I still sort of want to be bullish because I think they're capable of points, and I'm going to say they're going to be in that 8th or 9th sort of clump.
Yep.
Gregory?
For me, I've got a lot of questions for Manly. They can be something, but it's a matter of if everything sort of comes together. Tommy and Garrick are arguably one of the most potent attacking pairs we've got in the comp. That does take Tommy being fit, firing on all cylinders, and not hanging an arm for 80 minutes in a game,
Yeah.
struggling to even be there. So that can win them a game. That can win them multiple games just off their backs. Brooks, I've got question marks on. What is he? Because he's been playing in the Tigers for so long. What's he capable of? We don't really know because he hasn't had that support around him. He's been in a team that, has been struggling at best for years. What's he actually going to turn into?
Okay, well, let's talk about Luke Brooks, and I'll get your opinion too, Bun. I think he's in for a good year. I think the pressure being off, being away from Tiger Town, it's been fantastic. He's a very quick 5'8". If he's playing 5'8", I think it's going to suit him because he can just focus on his running game, which he focused on last year and he spent a lot of time injured last year, but he actually produced some of his best footy in a long time last year. He's got a good left foot boot, but he won't have to focus on that too much. I think he's going to be a support player, a lot of it. He's a tackle breaker, and I think I'm not going to say he's going to be the difference between him winning the comp, I think, but I think he's going to have a good year. And as to go back to the bold prediction show, I suggested he might be one of the most bought 5'8" in the comp at some point because he will rack up some points.
A bit pricey at the moment to start the season with, Supercoach Spectrum, but gives them another kicking option, which they haven't had realistically for a while, apart from Croker jumping out of dummy half. So that would take a little bit of pressure off DCE there. Does have a pretty good long kicking, pretty solid kicking game all round, to be honest. He's a decent short kicking game as well. And is probably one of the best supporting halves, as you mentioned. Does have that acceleration to punch through a hole. Organisation is the thing that he does lack. If anything, DCE should help him a little bit with that.
He doesn't have to worry about
that.
No.
Well, he will have to sort of organise a side at one side of the field at least for parts of the game. And that may be to the detriment of some of the outside backs on his outside. But as long as they're not really getting fired, like belted through the middle of the field, he should have enough opportunities to, make. I think he should, a big step forward from where he's been languishing at the Tigers.
Keep going with some of your fine points there.
Going further down the list, Ola Kalatu, again, the same as you said. Basically, he's one of the most destructive second rows we've got in the comp when he's not throwing the toys out the cot.
It does get a bit like that.
Yep. If he's putting in that step just before the line, which he doesn't even really need a lot of the time, he can just run over 90% of the second rows we've got in the comp. But
we've seen him last year try and bloody offload into touch when he could have just steamrolled a winger. Anyway.
And then add Schuster to that, which is probably the biggest question mark we've got this year. He's on $800,000 a year. Add to that the fact that he was meant to be this great 5'8", which never turned out. Then he's been thrown back into the second row. I get the feeling he may just switch off for the year and be out of the side come round 10.
Yeah, there's a point to prove. He's either this year he steps up or ships out. Simple as that.
Yep. Their attack will win them games. They'll probably win a game 40-32 this year. But I don't hold a lot of hope for them being towards the top 8.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I've got him missing towards the lower end of that bunch from sort of 6th to 10th.
Okay. It's very simple. If Tommy gets injured, you don't have to worry. If he's fit and they're all fit, I think top 6 is beckoning. Front row, the forward pack's an issue.
Yeah, best can see him get in 6th, 7th or 8th. But I think it's a team. This is the team that could have the biggest spread out of anyone, to be honest. As you mentioned, could be on the bottom, the top of the bottom 4, or could be sneaking in around 5th or 6th. So
yeah. Anything else on Manly? Cool.